Hello, and welcome to drillingcontractor.org. This is Kelly Ainsworth Robinson at the 2018 IADC HSE&T Conference in Houston. I'm with Gareth Burrows, Global Director of Business Development for OES Asset Integrity Management. He gave a presentation this morning on how technology can be used to improve drop safety. Thank you for joining us, Gareth.
Thank you.
Could you tell us some of the limitations of paper-based drops prevention programs?
Yeah, it's paper-based drop systems have been the main sort of industry standard for a long time, and we're the largest company really conducting these type of surveys. But what we found was, as technology improved and tablet-based solutions became available, we started to look into how technology can help us actually improve what we can put out there to our clients and put out there to the market to help eradicate drops a little bit better. Paper-based systems are a little bit limited. It's a static system in terms of it's just it is just a piece of paper, right? And there's not really much you can do with it. Tablets, you can link it into a database, and you can search for equipment. You can have so much more information at hand, on a tiny piece of computer, really the same size as the paper that you had before. And with those, what we could do is just add in so much more information and capabilities that we just couldn't do with paper systems to help kind of get the final eradication of dropped objects solved, really.
And you said in your presentation that tablets can also be used to improve traceability and accountability in these programs. How is that possible?
Yeah, with paper systems, it's kind of someone on the rig might be allocated the task of going around and doing the drop surveys, and that person might change, whoever it is. And on some rigs, it's kind of whoever's got the least to do that day might get tasked with that. So, and nobody really knows, say in the derrick, if something falls down, who was meant to be checking that and when it was done, and the traceability isn't necessarily there. Where with a tablet, you might have to sign in or use your own password so they know who's done which inspections and when and these things. And that's not really to create a blame culture. That's so people feel a little bit more responsible for the task at hand. If my job is to make this rig safer and to check these things, and my name's on this, I'm going to make sure it's done properly. If it's just a quick push and rush around with the paperwork, then it just seemed like that wasn't actually being conducted as complete as it could be. So.
What are the benefits of using an e-learning program for training on dynamic drops?
E-learning there's so many good things about e-learning, because training, obviously, you can have an individual trainer go around. He can go maybe into company, they have someone go to the rig for a couple of hours, like in a year maybe, to talk about dynamic drops and what people should do. But it's not really adapted in that sense. So when you have e-learning, you can create something very bespoke to your company. You can get off the shelf stuff, but you can also create something that ticks all of the culture that you have in the business, and you can adapt those over time. So if you have an e-learning program, you could change it daily if you wanted to, as new ideas became available and these things. Some of the benefits of e-learning is that when you have a rig crew and they're rotating 28-28, you can capture all of your crew, but you're not necessarily capturing a third party. So someone comes onto your rig and they have none of the training that your crew have had, but you can give them that e-learning to do. They can do it before they even go to the rig site. It can be a prerequisite for actually attending the rig that they must pass that type of training. You're not going to probably get those benefits just by having personnel training other personnel.
And can you discuss some of the pros and cons of using drones for inspections?
Where we're finding drones very useful is to see facilities and underneath rigs and areas of the legs that either a drilling contractor won't necessarily have the budget to have personnel go and look at, but we can do it quickly, right? We can do very fast access to remote areas of the rig or remote platforms extremely quickly, just to get an overview of what it's like, and really sometimes even just understand whether it needs further inspection or not. So that's probably some of the main benefits that we see. Yeah, I think that some of the cons around drones are, well, there's various things. Obviously you can have high winds. That means that a drone can't necessarily access areas. you can have scenarios where it's actually quite difficult in some countries to have a drone fly around a facility, through the Middle East and some of the countries in Asia. And these things, there's a lot of regulatory processes to go through. So it's not always necessarily easier. But from our side, what we're finding is that adding drones to our teams gives us that extra capability if we need it, right? We have the personnel there that can get all around the rig, but we also have that extra capacity to put a drone in if we want to use it, right? Get a bird's eye view, on a jack up, you can quickly, access higher areas throughout the legs very fast, right? When with personnel, you might not have the time, or the client might not have the budget to actually do those things. So.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us on drillingcontractor.org.